Hello everyone, it's Seth, probably better known as Saffron Olive, and it's time for another edition of Against the Odds. So last week, on our Against the Odds poll, our All Eldritch Moon Against the Odds poll, it was Harmless Offering, coming in first place by quite a bit over Lupin Prototype. And the rest of the options were kind of bringing up last place. But don't worry, we're doing another All Eldritch Moon poll again this week, so you get another chance to vote for your favorite Eldritch Moon option for next week's Against the Odds. Follow the link in the description to vote. A quick reminder before we break down Harmless Pact in Standard. If you enjoy Against the Odds and this Harmless Pact deck, it would be awesome of you if you can click the like button, subscribe, leave a comment. All that stuff is a really great way you can support the site. Anyway, let's talk about this deck. So first off, Harmless Offering is an updated, color-shifted version of the card Donate. So you can give a permanent you control to your opponent. The thing is, in Standard, there's not really a lot of options as far as what you want to give your opponent with Harmless Offering. I considered some really weird options, giving an opponent, for example, Gold Knight Castigator and then trying to burn them out, giving opponent things like Mind Rack Demon or Pitiless Horde that deal damage to them, and then maybe using like Pacifism to keep them from attacking us. The problem is those ideas just weren't really all that practical. I think the only potentially competitive way to build around Harmless Offering is the most obvious way, with the help of Demonic Pact. So Demonic Pact has seen some play in Standard here or there. It's one of the most unique and cool designs that they've made in a long time, so you have to choose an option on your upkeep. 3 of the options are good, and 1 of the options are as bad as it gets. You lose the game. So you get to draw 2 cards, make an opponent discard 2 cards, or you get to deal 4 damage to a creature or player and gain 4 life. So basically, you play Demonic Pact. On your next upkeep, so you got to make it through that turn, your next upkeep you get to choose 1, so you draw some cards or make opponent discard, deal some damage, then the next upkeep you get to do another, next upkeep you get to do another, then after you make those 3 choices, you're left with you lose the game. So the idea is, once we pick those first 3 choices, we will use the Harmless Offering to give our opponent the Demonic Pact, and they will have to choose you lose the game, and will lose on their upkeep. There won't be anything they can do about it. So that's the plan of the deck. The problem is, as I was kind of just describing, this process is a bit slow. So Demonic Pact doesn't do anything when it enters the battlefield. You gotta wait a whole turn for it to start doing stuff. Then we gotta make it through 3 more turns of choosing options before we can actually give it to our opponent. We don't really want to just like play Demonic Pact, give it to our opponent, because then they're dealing damage to us, making us discard card, drawing cards. So we really want to pick those other beneficial options and then give it to our opponent at the very last second to make our opponent lose the game. So one way to do this would be to just build a super controlling deck, like Blue-Black Control or Grixis Control, and just use Harmless Offering and Demonic Pact as kind of the finisher. But there is another way, the way we went. We are playing a combo build of Harmless Offering, where instead of trying to kill all our opponent's stuff and disrupt them to stay alive, and we do have some controlling elements, but our main plan is to play the Demonic Pact, and then cast a couple of Part the Water Veils to take extra turns, which gives us extra upkeeps, which lets us pick extra options off Pact to not let our opponent untap after maybe turn 5 or so. So we play the Demonic Pact, then we survive that turn. The next turn we can part the Water Veil to take another turn, choose another option with Pact, then during that turn we can cast another Part the Water Veil, take another turn, get another option off Pact, and by that time, it'll be time to give our opponent the Demonic Pact with Harmless Offering. So that's kind of the plan of the deck, is to, once we get to turn 5 or so, combo off with Part the Water Veil to get those options off our Pact, and then donate it so our opponent has to lose the game. To hold all this together, we have Dark Petition, which is just the best tutor we have available in Standard. Once we get up to 5 mana, or actually 6 mana, I guess, we can tutor a Demonic Pact right out of our library onto the battlefield, thanks to the 3 mana we get from Spell Mastery. We can also use it to find whatever else we need. We do have some like one-of Planeswalkers and removal spells that we can search up. We can search up the Harmless Offering, search up our Part the Water Veil, so it's just a key card that gets all of our different combo pieces. And then we have some card draw to hold together our plan and help us filter through our deck to find our combo pieces. So it's a weird split, the 1-1-1, but there is a reason for this split. So Oath of Jace is really important because one of the ways, the most common main deck way our opponent can destroy our Demonic Pact and ruin our plan, is to use Dromoka's command to make us sack an artifact. So Oath of Jace lets us filter through our library, plus it's also a buffer enchantment, so if our opponent Dromoka's commands us, we sack the Oath of Jace instead of our Demonic Pact, and our combo can still work. So that's why we have the Oath of Jace. Read the Bones is usually worse than Painful Truce in a 3-color deck, because drawing 3 is more than drawing 2. The thing is, there might be situations where we want to Demonic Pact for card draw if we're really desperate to find multiple cards instead of just a single card. And Painful Truce doesn't really work with the mana we get from Spell Mastery on our Dark Petition, because you need Converge, adding multiple colors of mana to draw multiple cards. Read the Bones, though, is 3 mana, so it's a perfect mana cost for us to cast our Dark Petition, use the Spell Mastery mana to cast it, and immediately scry 2 and draw 2. And then Painful Truce is better when we're not using our Dark Petition to find it, and we're just casting it from our hand because we get to draw 3 with it. So that's why you have the weird split of card draw. But the bottom line is, all these cards help us filter through our deck and find our combo pieces. Jace and Ob Nixilis give us some Planeswalkers. They also draw us cards. We can use Jace to flash things back if we need to, like our few removal spells. Ob Nixilis can also kill a creature. So there are kind of additional ways to cycle through our deck with upside. And then we have our backup plan. So it would be a little foolish to rely 100% on Harmless Offering to get rid of our Demonic Pact. We don't want to lose to our own Demonic Pact. So probably the sweetest one of our backup plans is Summary Dismissal. So this card I kind of wanted some number in the main deck anyway to deal with Emeralds and things like that. Plus it's just a 4-mana counterspell, which is alright. I mean, it's expensive, but it does a lot more than just counter a spell because it counters all those abilities. So what you can do with Summary Dismissal is, no matter how many packs we have on the battlefield, we go to our upkeep, we actually choose the lose the game mode with all of our packs, and then with all those lose the game triggers on the stack, we cast a Summary Dismissal. It counters all of those lose the game triggers, and then since we've already chosen the lose the game option, we don't have to choose it again. So we can never die to those packs. And then eventually, once we get our combo set up and have our Harmless Offering, we can use Slumguard's command or Disperse to bounce our packs back to our hand, recast them, that'll reset all the options, and then go through the combo we've been talking about. And then just a bit of removal, Languish and Grasp of Darkness. Like I said, we're not really the control build that's looking to just stall and destroy all our opponent's stuff. We're the combo build of the deck, but we do have one Languish. It is really good in some matchups, plus we can tutor it up with Dark Petition, and a couple Grasp of Darkness for the early game. Both can also be flashback with Jace, so we can use them more than once potentially. And then just some Hedron Crawlers to speed things up. I was a little worried that we would just be too slow. We have a lot of 4-drops in this deck because of Dark Petition. We really need to get the 4-drops down before our Harmless pack, so our 3-drop is actually like a 8-drop or something as far as when we can cast it. So we need to speed up the process. That's what Hedron Crawler is for. It's just the best ramp option in the Grixis colors. Mana base-wise, we get a bunch of dual lands, including Wandering Fumarole, which we can use for blocking or maybe even attacking. I don't imagine this deck winning with combat damage. We don't really have the creatures to do that, but you never know. And then Evolving Wilds and some basics, and a single Blighted Fen, which is a pretty sweet answer to Emrakul in some situations. If our opponent casts an Emrakul on an empty board, which isn't all that unrealistic with some of the builds we saw at the Pro Tour, Blighted Fen is a good clean answer, making our opponent sacrifice it. It can do it at instant speed, so. And then in the sideboard, we do have some more like disruptive elements. So we get a Duress and some Transgress the Minds, as well as Negate. So these cards help us force through our combo, can attack our opponent's hand. Negate can counter Dromoka's command or sideboard stuff that's going to kill our packs, or our opponent's negates, which would stop us from giving our opponent the pact with Harmless Offering. And then some more removal. Ob Nixilis and Sinister Concoction probably look weird, but these are answers that can kill a lot of different things, but they're also the best answers, or some of the best answers to Emrakul. And after seeing half of the best decks at the Pro Tour, literally half playing Emrakul, I wanted to make sure we had answers to that. So Obnixilis can sit on the battlefield, kill an Emrakul. A Sinister Concoction, being an enchantment, can technically kill Emrakul at instant speed. You just leave it sit out there. Opponent Emrakul's 1 mana, you kill the Emrakul. Sure, they get your turn, but at least they don't have the 13/13 left over. And then another Languish, a couple Grasp of Darkness, and that is our Harmless Pact deck for Standard. So I think this deck is sweet. I'm really interested to try it out. I think Summary Dismissal and Part the Water Veil are what really make me excited, because these are some different cards that make this deck different than the typical, like, oh, we'll just be Grixis control and maybe we'll win with our Harmless Offering Demonic Pact. We are really focused on winning with that combo and have some ways to speed it up and do some really cool things. So as far as it working, I think it will somewhat depend on the matchups. If we run into a lot of Dromoka's commands and Spell Quellers, we might have a rough go of it. On the other hand, if we run into decks that are really efficient at getting Emrakul, that could also be a problem. That is one of the downsides with Demonic Pact, is if our opponent controls our turn, they are going to get to choose the option on our Demonic Pact, and I'm guessing they will usually choose the lose the game option, so there is some risk involved there. So I'm a little concerned that the meta just isn't really in the right place for this to be competitive, but if we get in the right matchups where we're not getting Dromoka's commanded and we're not getting Emrakul too quickly, I think we can be pretty efficient. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to say we win, let's say 25% of the time, about 1 in every 4 games. Might even pick up a match or two. I think in the right matchups we can win matches with this deck. I'm just wondering if we will run into those matchups, or if everyone's going to be playing Bant Company with Dromoka's Command or these fast Emrakul decks and kill us to our own Demonic Pact. So we will see. Anyway, that's been our Against the Odds deck for this week. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoy the games, and I will talk to you soon.